Hello, everybody. As I say, hello, Newman in Seinfeld.
In the Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super professional, anyway.
Yeah, I'm getting used to this. Now. Deep breaths, deep breaths, deep breaths. So, Danielle, happy birthday on behalf of all of us here in the forums.
Thank you very much.
I'll be a gentleman and I won't ask you how old you are.
I will. What age are you?
I'm 29. It's last year, my 20s.
Class.
It's horrible, Richie. It's horrible. Yeah. So.
Until you're 39. See how you feel about 29 then?
Yeah, that's true.
Ask Richie what 49 felt.
Oh.
It's just a distant blur.
They were the good years, like.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Can you remember that far back?
I'm moving further back from the stage. That's basically what happens, Danielle.
Okay.
Nothing other physical problems as such at the moment, anyway. But then again, I haven't been to fucking any live gigs, so.
No physical problems yet. Brilliant.
You're going to talk about
physical
on the internet, like actually a couple of colon shoes, you know.
Yeah.
I'm wearing slippers, you know, and I've got the hot bovril there.
Been on Viagra for the last 20 years.
Really? You.
Topic of the week.
Yeah, just to get up out of bed, even like.
Just to get up.
Love a bit of bovril. Bit the balls.
This show is sponsored by White Claw.
Ooh, I love a bit of White Claw. Mango's the nicest one, yeah.
That's very white girl of you, like.
Oh.
That does Alan Bullman. Shout out to Alan. How are you?
Fair play, Alan.
It's crack, Alan.
Yeah, I think you must have been on about White Claw, Danielle, because someone was on about White Claw, and I can't remember. I thought it was some Hollywood personality, so it was you.
Same thing.
It is, Danielle.
Same thing. Yeah, no, White Claw is nice. Gets you drunk nice and easy.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Should I be on that Tuesday, Evan, when we're over in London, in Camden?
The White Claw. Oh, absolutely, girl. I'll hold your hair back.
You'll be flat out drinking White Stripe. That's all you can get in Camden. Cans of White Stripe.
Really?
Yep. Yum, yum.
Bushing out in Camden streets, like, nah, we'll be in the pub, man.
I've done worse.
Way worse.
I've done way worse.
Drank way worse than that. Way worse.
What are you on tonight, Joe?
I'm on Marshmallow Laser Quest flavored beer.
Obviously.
Wow.
Oh.
Where do you get stuff like that? You know, you're just on a different planet, my man. Fair play.
The supermarket.
It definitely is. It's fucking cheaper than it is here now. Anyway, like.
Oh my God! Yeah. Shout out to the Kerry posse. Kirk Kelly is in the house as well. Nice one.
Well.
Okay, so we're supposed to get the show on the road, will we? We've got like 5 tracks to go through, and good topic of conversation as well. I hope you had fun getting out some classics there that were shit. Joe, did you have fun doing that?
I think I missed the memo about what this chat was about. But I've got a good arsenal. What's the topic? I'm sure I can think of
Unbelievable. I prepared all the notes. You all get your fucking songs, everything, and then Joe comes, I'm not really sure. I missed the memo. Metal bands that should have stopped releasing music after a particular album.
That's easy. I could go on about that all night. Number 1, Gamma Bomb. Okay. Number 2, Worn Out. Number 3, whatever the name of Richie's band is.
Actually, we might call ourselves Grey Fanny. I think that's
Grey Fanny.
Jesus.
Imagine the poster.
Oh, stop. Kelvin will be all over that now for a poster.
Get out of there.
Anyway, and Ruben came up with it, which is worse. He misheard me saying Dave Fanning on the radio. And he said, what's
Fanning is a bit of a Grey Fanny. So
he is a bit of a Grey.
So he says, Dad, what's Grey Fanny? And goes, what the hell are you on about Grey Fanny, sir? And he goes, that's your man on the radio, isn't it? And I goes, Dave Fanning? And goes, oh, I thought you said Grey Fanny or Grey Fanny. And I says, okay, that's the name of our band. Perfect. Thanks, Ruben.
Wow.
And of course, what does he do then? He looks for fucking money straight away. Then, I'm after giving you the name of a
I
bank.
thought you were going to
money?
say he looked up what Grey Fanny was on the internet or something. Like he Googled it.
Jesus Christ.
What is that?
Anyway, let's go. Let's go. Okay, so the first track up is a track called Hunters by Hyperstatus, and the lineup is Mark Cruncher on guitars, backing vocals, Kyle Walker on lead vocals, Ren on bass, and Sean Spicer on drums. Quick background about the band. Hyperstatus is an eclectic mixture of groovy rhythm section with low-tuned guitars and post-hardcore vocals with a pinch of electronic samples and spacey post-rock attitude. I love these descriptions. They get worse as the bands come along, actually. Established in 2018 by a group of people who found themselves via the internet, instigated by Mark Cruncher. Material was recorded during the summer of this year. Drums and sort of electric guitar parts were tracked in straight up studios by Ryan Shepherd. The rest of the tracks were captured at Mark's flat. The bass was done at Ren's flat. All mixing and mastering production is done by Mark. So currently Hyperstatus is promoting their debut EP Volume 1. Now lads, if you are, I can't find it on Bandcamp or anything, so look into that. I can't find that at all. Unless...
It was on Spotify, I think.
Was it on Spotify?
Yeah.
Fair enough then. Jesus Christ, I thought they would be the anti-Spotify band, so I never even checked. So they're playing
of metal.
Yeah, they're playing Metal to the Masses in Dundee in February. They're a Scottish band. And I checked out the song. It was up in the footage of that song that we're going to play. It was on the Fisherman's Inn in Arbroath in 2019. So it's actually an old song as such,
Pandemic doesn't count. There was no 21, 22.
Yeah.
Or 2021. See what I mean?
Okay. So we'll give it a blast here. So this is Hyperstatus and Hunters. Okay, Joe, we'll go to you first.
Your man, the singer, kind of remind me a little bit of Roddy Womble, the singer from Idlewild. Pretty sort of semi-left field. Like I could hear a wee bit of kind of Dead Kennedys and stuff in the vocals as well.
Okay.
Like maybe a wee bit too Americanified in places or whatever, but like kind of interesting music and really well produced. You know, it's sort of always strikes me as mad how these bands' first demo or first EP sounds so great. Look, you know, and like
and someone's flat,
making it in someone's flat and then someone else's flat and whatnot. So good on them.
Yeah. Did any of you get a touch of Rage Against the Machine vibe off them?
That was the very first thing that I was going to compare it to on the verses. All right, yeah.
Yeah. Go on, Ed. Off you go.
Yeah. Like the verses are really nice. Rage feel to it, like kind of that Born of a Broken Man kind of thing. My thing with this song is I know there on the clip we didn't get to the chorus, but I think the vocals on the chorus are they're quite weak. You know, I think that really like brings it down. It's like just a falsetto kind of note held, but I think if that was more powerful because it keeps the song just on kind of one level. But I think that chorus kind of let it down for me, but there's a lot of potential in that band for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of potential there.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a good point. Writing the verses and everything, he's an interesting singer. But again, the chorus, yeah, I agree. Danielle?
I kind of thought the opposite of the chorus. I really enjoyed the chorus. I thought it was cool. The kind of groove kind of reminded me a bit of like Porcupine Tree. That kind of style. Why are you laughing, Richie?
Joe's just sucking out of a bong there. Sorry.
Or somebody else. That was me. Carry on.
That was Miguel Chainsaw, not Joe.
I was sucking out of somebody else there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, kind of
Porcupine dollars.
Yeah, I thought
Porcupine Tree. Okay, cool.
I thought they could probably link in well with like Cell Games for a gig. I thought they'd be a good mashup. Nice. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I definitely would like to listen to them more. So I must check out the Full As It Volume 1 is the name of the... So
you found it on Spotify, no problem.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah, so shout out to the lads. Yeah, they have potential. We'll all agree in that. They're from Scotland. And as I said, best of luck to them in Metal to the Masses in Dundee in February.
Absolutely. Dundee, was it?
Yeah, Dundee. Cool. You're hitting Scotland.
I haven't a clue.
Don't be like that. You have dates confirmed, haven't you?
I have no idea what you're talking about, Richie.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Sorry. I didn't say anything in relation to where.
You exactly said where.
I said Scotland, but I didn't specify, did
I am on the topic of Dundee.
Yeah. Going on a holiday.
Dundee, yeah. Check out a bit worn out in Dundee in February.
Just making it up as you go.
I'm making it up. Give me a break. Okay, so on to this is great stuff, this White Claw. Show is sponsored by White Claw.
Nice segue.
Anyway, so the next song is Battle Cry by Jordan Dennis. So Jordan is an Irish singer, songwriter, guitarist, and having released his debut single King of the Strings on the 24th of September this year, Jordan began a self-funded promotional tour, cutting his teeth with live audiences at various bars and venues across Ireland, with the intention of building an organic following and raising funds for his debut EP, which shall be released in early 2022. So hard rock, new blues sounds cast against neo-Western themes. Any of you heard of that genre before? Has he invented it himself? A neo-Western theme.
They make them up as they go along.
That's we code for people who like country music are going to like.
I was thinking, is that like fucking Mead, Navan, kind of Big Tom country? Anyway.
Country. Navan, like.
So Jordan's first musical offers are a gumbo of his own musical influences and experiences met with the country and Western influence of Castle Blaney. With an edge, he said, but with an edge. He recorded in his own home studio in Castle Blaney. It was mixed and mastered by James Darkin of Black Mountain Studios. His credits include Hosier, Gavin James, and the Vulpines, to name but a few. Very interesting so far, and we'll give it a listen.
Two tears and a holy fright. Come marching from the hills on high. Dog soldiers, iron horses ride. The fires burn against the black of night. The guns they sound and the bullets fly. The mothers run and the children hide. Fathers, brothers, sons fight and die. To the air of the battle cry. Tell me, who now will hear the battle cry? Tell me, who now will hear the battle cry?
Okay, Ev, we'll just talk about that for a second. I think Sarah likes it anyway. Tail was wagging away to it there.
She wagged the second you said her name. I don't know how she heard it. But yeah, like, I mean, it's cool. It's definitely not like something I would listen to. It's very pub rock. That makes sense, you know, like a Saturday night. There'd be a great market for it, but I don't know. He
doesn't sing in an American twang either.
No, not at all. And that's great. There's that real kind of Dublin vibe to it. But like, I can't fault what he's doing. It's just, it's not. It wouldn't be for me. But like, even as he's a guitarist and vocalist, is he?
Yeah, the solo on that single is absolutely excellent.
Very proficient at what he does. It would just be that kind of, that just goes over my head. I respect what he's doing, but it's definitely just more that kind of pub rock thing.
I'm glad you didn't say dad rock.
I was going to, but then I thought you'd get pissy about it. Like,
yeah, I will get pissy. just to kill it there on the head. Yeah. But yeah, Joe, did you enjoy this?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Like, it's probably the same as Evan. It wouldn't be 100% my kind of cup of tea, but like, you can really see that this is like massive crossover potential. Like, as in, if this sort of lad was opening for Guns N' Roses, he'd probably get on brilliantly, you know. And like, Castle Blaney has actually a sort of history as sort of rock band, like Speed King and all that sort of stuff are from around those parts.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. What size town is it, Joe? Is it like big or small?
It's not that big, really. Like, I wouldn't imagine it's more than 10,000.
But it's got a good record for live music, is it? Or is it more like country or what?
Like all of the above, like, you know. But I think that's probably why this fella, his music is so rocky and country-ish, you know. So, as I said, yeah, definitely aiming big. This, like, people who like Big Tom and the Mainliners or fucking Ethan Carter would probably like this.
That's, yeah.
You know, and absolutely. It is massive. Like, and we've talked about this before. I think that's the problem, is whenever you're like trying to get Audio Slave fans and stuff to listen to your band, you know, it's not like genre music where you can very easily pick up listeners. It's very hard to appeal to like a really wide audience. And I thought that it was class here in all the local parlances in his voice, you know, Childer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's very from like this kind of, you know, the border making kind of area and stuff, you know.
Like.
But I don't think the chorus probably was hooky enough, you know. So, but like, I don't know, maybe he's not going for that, and it is more of a like, this is rock and blues kind of thing. But I'm sure he'll have a long old history playing in Ireland anyway. Yeah,
and it sounded great. Mixed and mastered, as I said, by James Darkin of Hosier and Gavin James. So, I mean, he's spent the money on it, so fair play. Danielle?
Yeah, when I heard it, the first thing I actually thought was Joe would like the vocals because it's got the Irishness in it. Yeah, look, it wouldn't have been for me. I can see the appeal. But I think it could have had a little bit more of a pizzazz in it. You know, it kind of felt a bit like same throughout. But that's just my personal opinion. But I think, I could see it going down well with that kind of Guns N' Roses crowd, definitely. And that's what he's going for. He's going for the hard rock kind of thing. So I think he's doing it very well.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Best of luck with that, Jordan. And thanks
for type of music to send in to the Metal Cell podcast as well.
I know.
Yeah, fair play to him.
Fair play to him.
As I said, like he was very good with his messages and emails, and you know, fuck it, fair play to him. We'll give him nice to give him a shout out anyway.
Absolutely,
100%, yeah.
And to Owen Galligan, he says, "What's the crack, fellers?"
Owen Galligan, all right, Owen, and Connor James as well. Hi, lads. Okay, so track 3 is Jaguar by Cora Kuma. I hope I pronounced that right, Cora Kuma. Yeah, they bring a fresh dose of exotic heaviness to the extreme music scene in 22 with their debut album Born of Obsidian, set for release on the 4th of February. Recorded in London at Narcissus Studio, the Sheffield-based psychedelic sludge trio have been sharpening their mantra-like songwriting since forming in late 2013 by guitarist and vocalist Jacob and drummer Joe Allen in Sheffield. George Anita, was soon brought into the mix following the departure of their original bassist, and the die was cast, finally culminating in a debut album that melds their expansive ideas and abrasive influences together perfectly. Okay, so let's give this one a try. As I said, it's called Jaguar. Jesus, I could listen to that all night. Danielle.
Yeah, the only reason I was making like weird faces there is because I'm drinking Jack and it's disgusting. But that was fucking class. Yeah.
I knew it.
Fucking unreal.
Unreal, yes.
Deadly. Oh, give me more. Yeah. Yeah, that was unreal. I really, really enjoyed that. It's an unusual take on the whole sludge vibe, isn't it?
Yeah,
and I really like that.
So.
Yeah.
Like if you're a Tool fan, you can hear Tool there. You can hear a bit of Jane's Addiction. You can hear some other stuff as well going on in the background. Man.
Yeah,
great.
Savage. Yeah, so definitely want to see more of them.
Kurakuma. Ev.
Yeah, I love this. There was a very big Sepultura vibe to it.
Yeah, 100% of that. Yeah.
Rhythmically, it's great. There's like, you know, it builds and then it drops down again. It's about 8 minutes altogether, but it's really, really good. Another one now live. I think there's some sections on it, like rhythmic sections, that they could have 10-minute jams on, and it's going to keep your focus because it's quite circular and like hypnotic. And I just thought it was absolutely class. Loved every second of that now.
Yeah, they're a 3-piece, so there is a video of them up doing it live in the studio.
3-piece, so that's...
So the bass player, George, has a set of drums.
That's sick, yeah.
As well as the drummer, obviously. Anyway, Joe?
Not really my bag, really, at all, this. I definitely agree with Evan that the rhythm was very, very interesting in it. Like, that was the thing I enjoyed the most, was the drums. And, like, that kind of Sepultura-y vibe of having, like, you know, additional percussion and stuff in the song was really, really cool, you know? And I think that they probably, I don't know, I haven't listened to all their stuff, so I presume they do a lot more with that kind of thing. But I didn't like the vocals, and I didn't really like the way it was just that bass lick for ages and stuff, you know? So, but, like, again, like, really, really cool, interesting rhythm to have in a song. And obviously, if you guys like it and I'm only one person who dislikes it, then
Are we ever going to get a song that we all like? Why can't we all just get along?
Why not?
What's the point?
Here's an interesting fact, actually. Korakuma played The Siege in 2017.
Whoa.
And guess who was drinking with George, the bass player, in the front bar?
You.
Me. Now, I'm sure George don't fucking remember that, but I certainly do. I've always kind of followed them since that. But yeah, they played in 2017 at The Siege.
Who would they be good to tour with here if we got them over?
Oh,
I'd love to see them. I think like if they
could play with anybody, really.
I think like Partholon and Slung from a Tree.
Yeah.
I was thinking Corrosa as well, by the way.
Corrosa, yeah. We'll make it an all day.
We'll make it, yeah.
I'll put it on.
So they became the first metal band in the world also to launch their own cannabis seed after partnering with Nem Seeds on Koro Kesh.
They'll definitely have a great time doing a gig with Slung from a Tree. So.
Yeah. Evan, the hair is fab on. Love it.
Thanks, girl.
It's
Xander
unreal. It's savage. Yeah.
Xander's in that kind of business now, yeah?
He's training to be a barber now, so I get free haircut.
It's
not
unreal.
that I ever fucking paid for a haircut. But
yeah, I was just going to say, not that you ever did, like, but that's interesting.
Yeah, you're fucking gorgeous now, aren't you?
Yep.
Let's give him a shout out. Where's he working, Ev?
He's not working. He's doing his barber course. I was his first victim.
Doing illegal haircuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Illegal lockdown haircuts, like.
Okay, so song 4 is Doxing by the Magna Pina. Do I have to give an introduction to this band? I don't think so. Anybody that follows the show knows all about them. Big shout out to Howard and all the lads. It's off their forthcoming album, which has been marinating in its own brilliance for 2 years. All good things come to those who wait, and patience will be rewarded on February the 14th when it's been released. So
Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Is it really?
Yeah. You should know, Richie. How many years have you been married?
Helen's downstairs watching this now, being like,
screaming.
Danielle, it's called sarcasm.
Yeah, sure it was.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, who wants to take this? Joe?
It's a very un-Joey week. It's very late 90s kind of sound. I don't know. Did anyone else get like a bit of a sort of weird cold chambery buzz off?
Got a bit of a Pantera kind of vibe off it.
I did too, yeah. Pantera.
A big bandy note.
Mike Patton in general, really.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I suppose like the music wouldn't really be my thing, and like something like that, you'd want the vocals and the lyrics to really sort of capture you, and I didn't really like it myself.
Cool. Okay.
Richie was like, "Oh, okay." The shock.
What's trying to be nice, you cunt.
What's that Simply Red song? Holding Back My Tears. Evan.
Yeah, I love it, man. I think genuinely my favorite thing about the Magna Pina has always been Ed's drumming. Like
yeah.
So And I've definitely seen that song live before. I'm fully sure I have. But he's so he's so creative, like in what way he plays. The only thing that I would say about the thing is like I maybe with the vocals if they weren't as dry, but the song is fucking excellent. Like, and
do you want your vocals all wet? Is it?
Oh, Jesus, girl! Happy birthday!
Sorry, Danielle's 2 drinks in.
It's gonna get interesting.
But, yeah, like I think like it's a great song, and I think when we got sent it and I was listening to it, I just straight away remember being like, I've 100% heard this live, and it just brings back the energy that they have. It's just fucking excellent. Like, I love it, and it's not the type of thing that I would usually would kind of go for. Just something about him. I don't know what it is. Probably just from seeing him live, to be honest. Because I'll admit now, there was a stage where not that I didn't like them, but I just didn't really pay too much attention to them.
Yeah.
And I think it was in the Spalpeen, some all day, I can't remember what it was now, but I saw him at that and I was like, shit, this is just fucking fun. Like, and
yeah,
you know, when you go back to listen to it again, then you're hearing it with different ears almost. Yeah, really, really into it. Yeah.
And the reason I picked that is because it's very different to the rest of the tracks on the album. The album is absolutely fantastic, by the way. I had the lads in here last Saturday.
That's going to be hilarious.
You've no idea. Oh my God, the stress levels are through the roof with this one. But yeah, it's a very different track to the rest of them. And I just said I'd throw that one out to you as a curveball. Danielle?
Yeah, it was really good fun. I really liked to hear it live. All right, I'd say it's great crack live. But yeah, I kind of got Pantera vibes off the kind of riff in the intro. But yeah, really look forward to the album now.
Yeah, it's excellent. Okay, so Grumpy Joe in the corner again, turned the thumbs down, but he might like the next one. This is Bong Knob is the name of the song by the Mountain King. With this band, man, or it's actually a solo project with musicians involved, for you that don't know. So from the makers of Wicked Zen and The Smell of Stars and Vomit, March the 5th, 2021, which contains tracks Destroy the Vatican Before They Build Spaceships, Penis Sweet Milk Farm. Do you want me to repeat that again? Penis Sweet Milk Farm.
Yep.
And my own personal favorite is the Ultimo Hombre, and it's called the Vesuvian Wanker. And there's a great bass on that track actually as well. So this is, check it out. It's The Smell of Stars and Vomit. That was released in March 2021.
The Fantastic Penis Milk. What was it?
Penis Sweat Milk Farm. So anyway, so Wallow is the new album that we're listening. This track is off, called Bong Knob. The album is a potent, fully palindromic mixture of post-rock, avant-garde, black metal, stoner doom, and shoegaze. The album will run, I think,
50 years long.
50 years long, yeah. The tracks are perfectly mirrored and balanced, with each direction offering a unique listening experience. Wallow will unfold its full reflective picture on February the 22nd, 2022 on CD and digital via our best pal, Roger at Curse Monk Records.
Going to buy.
So the main brains behind it is Eric McQueen, who does guitars, vocals, lyrics, and programming. Frank Grimbart is on guitars. Guest appearance by Jack Craddock on bass. And Eric has mixed it and Jan has mastered it. So this is Bong Knob. Okay, that will give you some idea. The song is a lot longer than that, but Danielle, over to you.
Yeah. Do you know what? I could sit down and listen to that. It's kind of something I think I enjoy listening to, like while I'm working, like just kind of there, kind of
in the background.
Yeah, not so much that like that's just a background experience, like, but I think it would be something that could help me focus. Yeah, I think it was enjoyable. And that's all I have to say on
that. Did you approach this track with fear and trepidation, Evan, since it was from Curse Monk Records?
I did, yeah, I absolutely did. This is definitely the best one Curse Monk sent.
Yeah.
Shout out. But yeah, like the very start, it's really good post rock. You know, like the kind of build, the vibe, the instrumentations on it's great. When I was reading the bio, and I was reading it as I was listening to it, and when I saw that the whole thing is like palindromic, so, and then the reverse kind of thing came in, and when I was reading it there, and it's basically like the whole album is a mirror image. So although really cool. I get the like artistic kind of vibe of it, at the end of the day, like it just means that every song is only half the actual length, and then the second half of all the stuff just with it just sounds like there's a reverse effect on it, like, you know, unless it's something that, like, you know, if you listen backwards it sounds like the start. I'm like, I'm not going to do that though, you know. I think the idea of that is class, but I much preferred the first half when it was normal, and then the reverse thing is cool if he does it on a song, but if it's every song in the album, you've given away half of the album by listening to the first couple of seconds. Like, yeah, you're giving away half. You only need to listen to half of it. You can choose you want it backwards or forwards. Like, I think if you drive in your car and you reverse it, it plays the other way. But it's cool. I just think the palindromic thing is just a smidge gimmicky and takes away from like the underlining that some of the stuff there is really good post rock. Like,
like he is, he's got a load of stuff out, man, and he's fairly good in relation to releasing material. But definitely check out The Smell of Stars and Vomit, Evan.
Yeah, he's a great musician. Like, do you know what I mean?
I love the bass right through that actually as well. It's really cool. Joe?
Yeah, it's like the bass was really good. And like I think, honestly, I don't think that this kind of thing should be featured on the Metal Cell, really. Like, you know, like not really. Man. Like, I know you're saying it's like post-rocky and stuff, but like there's like Tears for Fears songs that are much more rocking than this, like, you know. And like, I love Tears for Fears, and that's like, I think that this music's actually really good. Apart from the droney aspect, like I don't like this sort of the nondescript, like there's a band called Earthling Society, our old guitar player was in for ages, and it was similar kind of like really long form droney lyrics, you know, spacey echoey vibe, which is fine, but like I don't think like this doesn't rock, like, does it?
Yeah, I could just take drugs.
No, it doesn't rock.
Drugs, and I don't like it. So if it's not appealing to the guy who's on drugs, then hey.
Yeah, the guy that's not fucking drinking is like, oh, I actually think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, fuck's sake, like to a degree.
Post,
well, I don't hear anything remotely metally about it. So I don't.
No, but post rock, like there's a bit of like almost Pelican in it. I don't know if you listen to them.
I do.
But there is like a post rock. Well, he said it's post rock.
Yeah.
But
yeah, like as I said, I'm not naysaying it. I just think that like there's such a huge catchment for this show and the kind of stuff that we're covering. Like it's covering absolutely everything from like hardcore and lots of different sorts of punks to really avant-garde metal. But like I would call this really, really, really avant-garde metal. You know? Yeah. Because there's nothing going on most of the time apart from backwards.
So I'm going too far out, man, with neo-western rock.
I'm not. To be fair, I don't think it's as far out as other stuff that we've gotten from Curse Monk.
There you go.
This is the tamest thing that we've ever gotten from.
And
Curse
like, sure, those song titles. Like, if I was 15 and I saw them on the back of CD, I would buy the CD just because of
Yeah.
Not like,
And so I got into Cannibal Corpse, genuinely.
Yeah.
Saw the cover and I was like, my mom's not going to let me have that. I have to have it.
That's whenever you hear people talking about the first Iron Maiden album, they're always like, no idea what it sounded like. I just wanted bad, you know?
Brian says there's full Devin Townsend albums with that vibe.
There is.
Yeah. And Tomas Hines from Foregone the Glublarp says story boys.
Oh, yes. We get a drink here.
Yeah.
And Kelvin, shout out to Kelvin as well. How are you, Kelvin? And anybody else that's joined us so far. So that's it. That's all of them. 5 songs. Really looking forward to the Magnapina release on Valentine's Day.
That'll be romantic now.
Yeah.
Evan, can I just say sorry for your loss with Every Time I Die? Very sorry, man.
I was wondering if we bring that up. That was like, it's like seeing fucking...
Yeah.
It's like seeing your parents fight. Like,
yeah, really sorry for you. And I'm not being sarcastic. Like, I know it's horrible to see a band that you love.
I've listened to their entire discography like over and over and over again now, and I'm like,
I'm just glad you didn't blame me for breaking them up because I just got into them, you know.
Well, I am now, actually.
Now that you say it.
You know, when you're hurt and you just start lashing out. You the whole time. Like,
I'm devastated. I really am. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ. And they just getting into the band and they split up. Fuck's sake.
I think with the bands break up, I just think it's the way everything's gone down is kind of like, because everyone saw them as that band that you wish your band was like, in the sense that their attitude, like how well they get along and all this. But, you know, like, I know Keith posted something saying they should have broke up in 2014. It kind of rips down this fucking veil that you had. Like, you know, all bands have arguments and fights, and, you know, you're not going to see everything, but it was just, they were always known as just the soundest guys, and seeing it go down like that.
And do you think, like, is it just because there were 2 brothers as well, didn't added fuel to the fire?
Honestly, man, there is we could do a full podcast on it. There's so much involved, and there seems to be something new every time. And I think, like, I don't want to be, it's not about picking sides or anything. It's literally just kind of like, I hope everyone involved is okay, do you know what I mean? Because there's some signs that
they're not.
But as long as everyone's kind of all right. I know the 4 lads are going to continue making music under some new project, and that's obviously going to be class. But
wouldn't it be cool if the singer of Every Time I Die joined a new band with Power Trip?
That would be fucking sick. I was
class.
saying that if the lads in Every Time I Die got Greg Puciato from Dillinger Escape Plan and did a band with him, I could imagine that just being mind blowing. Like,
but yeah,
there's a few people saying Josh Scrogan, that they do a band with him, but he's cool. Like, but there's a lot of other vocalists I think could do a better job.
Yeah. Okay, let's get on to the fun aspect of this. Metal bands that should have stopped releasing music after a particular album. Wow, this is going to be quite fun. Danielle, do you want to kick things off? Anyone that's really comes to the fore?
Well, I have 2 that are controversial, and then I've got like just one that I don't even know if the rest of you even listen to them, to be honest. So I don't know what to start with.
Give us a controversial one anyway.
Okay, I'll throw out the most controversial one, but let me finish my statement before you argue it.
No.
Black Sabbath should have finished after Never Say Die. They should have finished with Ozzy, and they should have started a new band with Dio called something else. An Audio Slave job, shall we say. That's my argument.
No.
I only ever listened to Black Sabbath with Ozzy, so I just didn't really. Anytime that I listen to Black Sabbath, it's with Ozzy. Do you know what I mean?
And this isn't me shitting on Dio or anything. This is me saying it doesn't sound like Black Sabbath to me. Like even Heaven and Hell, it's great, but it's a different band. And I think they should have done an audio slave kind of job and changed the
I
name.
have Black Sabbath down as well, and I'm saying that they should have stopped after the Mob Rules. Which was 1981 because
Born Again with Gillan, wasn't it?
Came after that, and that was shit.
It is really shit. But the Tony Martin albums from the 80s, Tire and The Seventh Sign and Eternal Idol are all really good. And like,
really good, but they're
different.
Not classics.
Yeah, but like, I don't think that you can say that because you haven't listened to them. So go and listen to them, you know. But like the Dio stuff, the thing is, like, Dio is such his own guy, right? That the Dio albums, right? I think that they're really good. But I would nearly say that if you're really into the Sabbath stuff with Ozzy, listen to the Tony Martin stuff from the second half of the 80s because it's way more in line with Ozzy. It sounds a lot more Ozzy-esque. Whereas whenever you hear Dio, you can only really just be like, well, this is like a personality mismatch. He sounds like Dio, and they're trying to sound like Sabbath, you know. But I don't know. I think that you are all bloody fools. Apart from you, it's your birthday. Happy birthday!
Yay!
You're still a birthday fool.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like I get what you're saying, Danielle. That it feels like two different bands. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it have that kind of separated thing that it's not really. It's not Black Sabbath. That when I think of Black Sabbath, I don't usually think with Dio at all. I nearly forget that he was doing it just because I only really listen to with Ozzy. Not to say it's bad at all, like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's one now. The second you told me this, I just boom, and I just couldn't stop thinking about him. And it started me going off on like a side topic, but it's Korn, and I think like they should have just fucked off after Untouchables. I'll give them take a look
in the mirror.
Yeah, I'll give them that because it came with a CBGB's live thing, but after that they turned into fucking butt rock. It was like this is the side thing that I'm going now. For me, it just became Slipknot do this all the time as well, where like, do you know when they're about to release something new, they'll spew the same fucking bullshit of
this is the heaviest album we've ever made.
We're going back to our roots. Yeah. We're doing all this stuff, and they released a fucking dubstep album then. And then like same way as Slipknot always say, yeah, it's Iowa heavy. It's like, fuck off. It's not going to be Iowa heavy. You've changed. It's like they just became like, I can hear the overproduced sound in Korn, and it's like, you know, lads that listen to Sirius XM and fucking, you know, their three favorite bands are Korn, Stained, and like fucking Three Doors Down, baby. Like, yeah, fuck freedom. I'm like, no, they completely lost it, and it's like they've gone to a point now that even if they released something that was actually like half decent, I can't actually bring myself to even give it the fucking time. It'd be one of those things that I could, unless it was one of the older albums, if someone came up and was like, oh, what do you listen to? I'd quickly scramble to fucking Celine Dion. Like, I'd be like, oh, just listening to Celine there. Yeah. Like, definitely not listening to the new Korn album. That's crap. No, I wouldn't be doing that. But yeah, Korn fucking suck now.
I disagree. Because Rotting in Vain is a fucking tune. There's a handful of unreal songs. Actually, Serenity of Suffering wasn't a bad album. It's quite good.
That's fucking shit.
No, I'm actually
classic albums, and then they just throw up another shit album, and then you're kind of going.
Well, that's what Evan thinks. But
Untouchables was fairly fucking
classic.
Korn fans liked it. I know lots of Korn fans who are really, really into that. And I suppose the thing about Korn is that they're still able to do the biz live, you know, and they can still play in big places and people dig it. I was going to say, now I don't know if this is more your bag, but Deftones, like when we were kids, first two albums, like, you know,
you're gonna hurt me here.
No, you're gonna hurt me. You're gonna cut me deep, man.
But like, you know, White Pony was so great, you know, at the time, and like I remember just totally losing the buzz as the 2000s went on. It was just like, oh, right, well, there's another disappointing album.
Didn't like Gore.
So good,
I liked Gore. I love Gore.
See, this is the thing. Some people do, some people don't. I don't think they would should stop, because Ohms is unreal. The last album, I love Ohms. Like, what else?
But like, he's a yap and stuff these days, like, you know. And that's the thing, is like, there's so many people who are like, yeah, the band can sound brilliant, but like Chino is just putting in zero effort, like, you know. It's like Wasp, like, you know, he's just hanging out, being all like, well, I'm here, like, is that not enough? You want me to sing?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, Gore. Now, I do remember when Gore came out, and like, what, listening to it, making a big deal of it coming out, going out for a walk and listening to it, and just being like so let down, being like, oh, the first song, whatever, I don't care, I'll move on to and I was just like, nothing's grabbing me here at all. But I wouldn't say they've just gone straight down like Korn.
No, like, to me, Deftones have never had a bad album. I enjoy all of their albums. I actually preferred Gore to Ohms, which is unusual. I know everybody loves Ohms, and I just never, like, of the song Genesis, and Ohms, the title track is really good as well. But it hasn't grabbed me like the rest of them. But I just think they never had a bad album.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Right, you,
I feel
Richie?
like I want to go back and give Gore another listen, or try it again, because I want to like it. But it's the same way some people didn't like, was it Saturday Night Risk? Or I know
Saturday Night Risk,
yeah, Saturday Night.
I know a lot of people that didn't like Koi no Yokan.
Oh no, that's a great album.
That's probably my favorite Deftones album, like, you know. But I know a lot of people are like, there's nothing good on that. I'm like, sorry, mate, you're wrong.
Let's have a look at the big four. My one there, Slayer, Seasons in the Abyss. After that, they can fuck off.
Yeah, they're awful.
You know,
like, just like, remember they went new metal.
Oh, that was
all like, that was like so late, trying to like adapt the times where someone's like. But the thing is, like, Slayer have never been in a situation where they were like selling more than 1 million copies of their albums, you know. So they didn't go down. Like, it just always stayed that Motorheady kind of level of the same for them, you know. But like, yeah, the material they brought out in the 90s is just not comparable. Like, at least with the rest of the big four, their albums were like commercially successful, whereas like Slayer's albums were just, here's a song about rugby. Let's do it.
Imagine sleeping tunes about rugby, like.
Okay, let's stay on the big four. Danielle, where do you cut off Metallica?
Where do I cut off Metallica? I don't cut them off.
I fucking cut them off anyway.
Hardwired has some good tracks. Death Magnetic has some tracks.
Some good tracks on Death Magnetic. We're on about classic Metallica albums. When was the last one?
The last classic Metallica album. The Black Album.
Metallica.
Yeah.
The Black Album.
Oh, yeah. Come on. Load and Reload were great. So they were. And Garage Inc. It was good as well.
I wouldn't include Garage Inc. now.
Because there's not a studio one. Yeah, like, the thing is, it's... I suppose that's the test, isn't it? It's like following up an album. Like, so people would say, holy shit, you know, Black Album, what an amazing album. There were a lot of people, you know, disappointed with, you know, Load, or, you know, there are a lot of people disappointed with the follow-up to White Pony and stuff, you know. So, like, it's hard to know how to quantify it, because if you were to say,
but like, to quantify it, Joe, is if you had, say, 5 Metallica albums in front of you, or all of them in front of you, and you stack them up, as in which ones you'd play, which ones would be at the bottom? We named them all, like, you know.
We're not going to count that absolute fucking shambles.
Lulu. No,
we're not.
I am the table.
Stop.
That was horrendous.
I have to agree with Joe, though, like, as in, like, I think Load and Reload get a hard time. I don't think
Maybe if there were one album, fair enough, but there were two fucking albums to traipse through, you know. There's some brilliant individual tracks on Load, and there's some good tracks on Reload. But
I would listen to Load more than the Black Album. And I think that like the Black Album in some ways is a kind of semi-cynical attempt to water down and slow down the Metallica sound of the 80s, whereas at least Load is them trying to be like ZZ Top or something like that, and, you know, just be like, right, we're going to do our own thing here, you know. But yeah, like I think that it is great, and I would even say Hardwired Self-Destruct, there's 4 or 5 really, really good songs on it, you know.
Yeah, that's definitely. But for me anyway, just after the Black Album, and I'm being kind with the Black Album actually, because I know that it was a landmark album for a lot of the younger people listening to the show that got into Metallica that way. But, you know, for me, it would be Up to And Justice for All, and after that, half the Black Album. Would I even listen to it? Not really. Megadeth, Joe. What about, where would you cut off at Megadeth?
It has to be Risk, doesn't it? Like, you know, it's like weighing up that thing of, like, they probably have brought out 20 or 30 brilliant songs in the 20 years since that record came out. But there's, like, you know, their reputation was insanely tarnished by that, you know, and there is something about the reason why people love Guns N' Roses was because up until Chinese Democracy, they hadn't had a chance to show everybody their shitty drawers, you know. You know, they'd only made good records. Like, so it's the same kind of thing that once Megadeth made Risk, they spent the rest of their career trying to get back to where they were beforehand, and they never could, you know. So, and also, like, I think at the time we were like, oh, Dave Mustaine, you know, this snarly character. And in the last 20 years of social media, we've seen him going on in a very sort of un-PC way about some things. And you're like, yeah, well, you know, maybe this would be better consigned to the bin, you know?
Yeah, I would have cut him off a lot earlier, Joe. I would have cut him off after Countdown to Extinction. I think they were waning then after that, you know. Euthanasia, couldn't be cared, not too bothered with it, you know. And the last one, Anthrax, of the big 4.
I don't like how hard to know, isn't it? Like, you know, because the John Bush stuff, there's some great stuff, but certainly it started getting crap and
Stomp 442. Jesus Christ!
Yeah. So would you even?
No, I cut them off after Sound of White Noise. That's it.
I know a lot of people who would even just say, yeah, Up to Among the Living, you know, because State of Euphoria was a disappointment, wasn't it?
Shite. But, you know, but I wanted to include the John Bush era.
Yeah.
So the Sound of White Noise for me definitely is class, like, you know, but after that.
I think I might have a controversial one and say Slipknot.
I was just going to say Slipknot as well. They're one of my controversial ones. Where I would have cut them off after Volume 3.
Volume 3, yeah.
That's even controversial to me because I actually enjoy their later albums as well. Except for All Hope Is Gone is probably the clanger.
Could you imagine the sort of legacy they would have, though, if they had only made those 3 albums? People would think that they were... Like, it'd be like if Metallica split up after Cliff died, people would be like, they're the best band ever, and nothing can ever change that, and they can play...
But it just says a lot that the fact that they're... Every interview for anything new coming out, it's one of those albums that they'll be like, oh, it's going to be this. So it's like,
it's annoying.
Even themselves, they've never, and it's what people want to hear, and like it'll start bringing up. But I just feel like even if they release something that sounded exactly like that, I feel like it won't feel right regardless because of the time that came out. It's, you know, like there's bands that are doing like there's a band Blood Youth from the UK, and they sound more like early Slipknot than Slipknot will ever sound like ever again. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I don't know if Slipknot could sound like what they used to ever again, because they were at that kind of stage where you're in your 20s, they were probably early 20s all the way through to their late 20s, and you have this angst. And you don't really have that, I don't think, when you're hitting 50.
Successful, bloated, multimillionaire.
I don't know if that's
very
fair.
Important
like, they've
thing to
been
say.
through some fucking...
I'm not saying they haven't been through stuff, but like what they had back then is just this angst, this like coming from a small town, that kind of thing.
Not a bit of a thing though with them, where like at that stage, like in their career, Joey Jordison and your man Paul Gray used to write a lot of their material, you know.
Yeah.
And they're both dead, you know. So,
which is mental to think about, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Like, because for a band who were like, you know, right, fair enough. There's a lot of people who are massive fans of their guitar playing and stuff, but I always thought it was more about the kind of rhythm Slipknot, like, you know, percussion and the rhythm and the bass. So it's like, if those guys aren't there, then it's going to be hard to recapture that vibe.
Because I think as well, when Slipknot were like, and that kind of era of music, it was like the death of solos almost, you know, that around that kind of era of what was starting to get big, especially with
you're right,
people. There wasn't. It was more of a rhythmical thing. Like everyone wanted something that was.
You Kirk Hammett weighing over the fact that, pun on the word weighing over the fact that there was no solo. He wasn't allowed to do a solo.
Yeah,
he's lucky. Now he looks like a good guy, where he's all like, "It's not my fault. I didn't fuck it up.
I just want to surf, man,
bro." But man, you know, in that same sort of vein, there's so many bands from that wave of metal that I think that should have just stopped nearly immediately. Like Machine Head, I know a lot of people love The Blackening, but the first two albums are great, and then after that,
Through the Ashes was great. I think, but like I think because I actually was just about to say Machine Head, but with them it's like it was great, and then what was it, Supercharger? That was the one where it was like. Yeah. He had his hair spiked up and was wearing like the tracksuits, and it was just such a fucking
forced
relevancy grab, you know. And
totally.
It was.
See,
so
I think he saw all
obvious
his other mates, like, you know, like Marilyn Manson, where like he literally crossed over massively on like Mechanical Animals was such a huge like commercial success for him, you know.
Yeah.
And like he was like, because Rob Flynn is from the hood, you know, and like, you know,
Auckland, yeah.
He has that sort of, you know, vibe about him. So it probably seemed less of an awful idea to him and the business suits, whereas everyone else was probably just like, this is, you know, this is.
But that wasn't that release? That was released through Roadrunner as well.
Yeah.
And Roadrunner are notorious for just being like, right, what's cool? What do we get now? What do we try to sign? Like they got Turnstile and also signed all Turnstile adjacent side projects just because they were like, right, if Turnstile kicks off, all the other bands that they're in are probably going to kick off.
Yep.
And I can feel that they're just trying to grab that kind of hardcore thing because it's starting to come up, and they got like Higher Power from the UK. They have them on it, so I feel like they're very much like what is as relevant as possible rather than signing for like, I mean, great bands, don't get me wrong, but you can see they're going out being like, as much, you know, a label has to do it, you know, there has to be some level of growing.
By cutting off Machine Head at Supercharger, then you're losing Empires and the Blackening, which is fucking awesome. Like
back and forth, like minus.
That's where I cut them off at the Blackening.
Yeah.
See, I never really. I think it just kind of went over my head. I know a lot of people love it, but anything after that, I wouldn't even click on a fucking video if it came up, because something like Rob Flynn, like if you watch any of the old documentaries, you're like, you know, this guy's pretty cool. But now again, it's starting to go into that fucking butt rock kind of vibe for me. You know, after a while, they start like just clinging on to relevance, and you can smell it off them as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And look, there's a big difference between that kind of, like my next nomination, I was going to say Alice in Chains, you know. But a thing with them is like there's no attempt by them to try and recapture their commercial glory. They're just making sort of fairly.
Oh, you're saying a good thing?
Well, like no, I think they should have quit, because I don't think any of their new albums are good. You know?
Oh no, man. Not at all. The first album with William DuVall,
Black Turns to Blue.
Yeah. Fucking incredible. Like, Check My Brain.
That's a great tune. Yeah, that's a great tune.
Banger. Devil Put Dinosaurs Here. Stone.
Yeah.
I honestly preferred his solo. I thought Boggy Depot, you know.
Boggy Depot was sick, but that was pretty much going to be the very next.
But I think that would have made much more sense to go down that road you know. And I don't know, like it just seemed to me, I suppose, again,
There's
talking about the same thing, Pearl Jam, like it's just,
you're dealing with two different singers, you see. That's why, and it's like what I was saying with Anthrax, I have to include John Bush in Anthrax before I cut him dead. And for Alice in Chains, I would have to, like, Dirt is my favorite album by them for numerous reasons. And but I couldn't cut him off with William Duval because I think he's a fucking fantastic singer as well.
He, like, when you're losing an iconic vocalist like Lane Staley, it's like you're kind of setting the next guy up to be hated, but he wasn't like,
no, he won people over, you know,
straight away. Like, I remember,
which is unusual.
People would have been just as happy to see Jerry singing, wouldn't it?
Initially.
Yeah, I think, well, this is the thing on Black Gives Way to Blue. You can hear that it is, like, even mix wise, that Jerry's vocals are slightly up, so it's almost that, like, teething thing of being like, look, we have a new vocalist, but he's mainly there for, like, certain sections and to double up on harmonies. But then when we're going into Devil Put the Dinosaurs here, that's when you're starting to see William Duval have that more like in front thing, because, and I understand them doing that, because I think, Joe, your point of being like people will be happier with Jerry Cantrell singing, they kind of married those two things together by being like, look, new guy's here, he's prevalent on it, but you could still, there was that common ground of what people were comfortable with, which was Jerry Cantrell's vocals being that slight bit more up compared to where they would have been with Lane. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I saw that tour, Black Turns to Blue tour, and William Duval live singing wise was absolutely fucking fantastic, and he plays guitar as well, so he adds even more to a live experience with seeing him, you know. So
definitely,
absolutely,
brilliant.
Like if you compare him to the fellow who took over from Stone Temple Pilots, lads, I don't know his name, but he's a fucking disgrace. I seen them at Copenhagen, and I was like, he's just doing an impression, really.
There's nothing worse.
And that's the thing,
fucking...
Didn't they have a competition or something like that? Or like a
wait, was he in
something?
excess or some shit? Or,
oh no, maybe was that in excess, or did the both?
In excess did a competition,
Stone Temple Pilots did a competition as well.
Did they do a competition, or did that guy win American Idol?
Oh, is it just fucking share it on Facebook or something? I thought you win. Yeah, you're in.
Like and share, and you too can be this.
Yeah. And tag two friends.
Backing singers.
Tag your two backing singers.
So it would be easier, like, to assess Pearl Jam rather than Alice in Chains in relation to where would you cut Pearl Jam off, because they have the one singer. Have you been fans right through? I've lost interest in them.
Since day one.
I absolutely love Pearl Jam, but I'm just going to look at their discography here and see.
I think it was Yield, that album Yield, I think, or
Yield is great.
It's brilliant, but like Binaural, the one after it, is really good as well. Red Act is the one where it started just being like,
no, I have no interest in it.
They're not infallible, because me and my brother was such a huge Radiohead fan, and it was around the same time that they brought out Amnesiac or something that wasn't great. And we both were like, oh man, these bands that we, worshipped for years are now shit. Like,
I think Binaural was the last one that I
have
really
that.
liked.
I bought that and I just went, no, this is shite.
I think give it a re-listen. It's good.
There is some great parts on it, but like,
I haven't bought an album by him since, actually.
Yeah.
No, even like fucking Lightning. I don't even know if I've listened to Lightning Bolt or Gigaton that they released 2 years
Mind Your
ago.
Manners and all. Like, there was a weird thing where they started trying to write like pop punk songs and stuff, and like appealing to like the kind of people who are listening to Original Prankster by The Offspring, that kind of audience. They're like, let's get some of that.
Oh God,
horrendous. But like, I know some Pearl Jam extremists who just be all like, those tunes are the classics. Those are the classics people don't know, and you're like, oh no.
You, sir, have it wrong.
Are they a band though? as well that just fall into, it's to their disadvantage in one way that they're so prolific in releasing stuff that people just go, nah.
I think the fact that they have such a legacy.
They have a great legacy, but like they're very prolific
now,
with recordings. So you're just going to go.
I literally have to, I don't know what the fuck you get trying. I love Pearl Jam, but kind of, I'll admit, I'm kind of stuck in my old ways of what I grew up with. That when I go to Pearl Jam,
you go 10 or something, is it?
Yeah, or I go to Versus, or I'll go to a few different ones, but it's like, which is, it could be like, my own ignorance where I'm more just putting myself in my comfort zone. And now because there's so much more that I haven't listened to, it's almost daunting. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get that with, like, a lot of people, I know the lads in the band are just constantly being like, have you started really getting into Converge yet? And it's just a band that I know they're amazing, but they have so much stuff that trying to figure out where do I start from, I just end up not doing it. It could be like 10 more years, I'll be like, Converge are the best band ever, but...
And about prolific bands, Iron Maiden, where would you cut them off?
The day they started.
And somewhere Tall John and Kieran just sit up and go,
I actually
there's disturbance in the force. It's fucking
I don't hate them that much, but it genuinely is just fucking brilliant to see people's reactions. Like, I posted on a group once, a guitarist group. I was fucking bored shitless, and I just literally just wrote Iron Maiden or shit, and then just looked at all the comments. I don't like, they're, like, they have fucking great tunes. I don't care about them, but seeing people's reactions to saying Maiden or shit is better than any Maiden song that's ever come out.
Joe's going to be diplomatic here, but I'll cut him off, and I'm being kind. I'll cut him off at Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I'm being very kind, actually, but I know.
I think I really like their new album. I put it in my best last year, and I like the one before that and stuff,
Shinkai or something, is it?
Senjutsu.
Oh, that's it.
So, they definitely, I think the older your artists get, you need to start thinking about changing the way you look at them in some way. Right now, we've been
the older the artists get, Joe, the longer the fucking songs are as well.
Yeah, but right. So look at it this way: when will you stop expecting you're an artist to bring out an album as good as their best album? Like if they're in their 60s or 70s, or
it won't happen. Like,
yeah.
So you demand the best at all stages, like no matter
it won't happen. I think Danielle summed it up perfectly there in relation to Slipknot. That when you're young, you have this fucking youthful exuberance, and you don't give a shit and carefree, and there's no other factors. There's no marriages breaking up. There's no friendships breaking. It's fucking. And Maiden would be the perfect example of that as well. I think just like their earlier stuff is fucking fantastic, but as they got older, the songs got longer. They got fucking boring. Oh man. No.
See, with me with Maiden, like the age I was when I started listening to them, like I really enjoy A Brave New World. That's just probably
A Brave New World,
because that's just the album that I got into them with. But yeah, you could probably cut them off earlier than that, really. At the same time, Dance of Death has a few good tracks on it.
Well, look, I would say this: I would exclude the entire 90s.
Yeah,
like even the stuff they made with Bruce Dickinson. Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. Everything from 1990 to 2000 was awful. But I think that they've done a very good job of, reinventing themselves as a bit more of a proggy 8-minute song band who can also do tunes that are in keeping with their early stuff, But again, you need to be interested in that. If you want all the songs to be short and of the same quality as the 80s, I'm afraid we're out of stock of that.
And have been for years.
Exactly. Yeah. Same as Metallica, like something like Cyanide is a brilliant tune, but it's not in keeping with how good it's like there, and their 80s stuff is like here, but that's still much better than Slayers.
It's a fucking hors d'oeuvre,
but it's still a nice hors d'oeuvre. It's not a fucking warm can of Stella on a plate.
Yeah. And
I can see here the chatter saying Smashing Pumpkins.
That's
Dream
Jeff.
Theater.
Shout out to Jeff with Strangers of Guns.
Would you say Adore then? Would you for Pumpkins, or what would you say?
Oh, Melancholy. Tested my fucking patience.
I don't know. I loved it. Like,
there's good songs on the door.
Yeah,
there is
great tunes.
Perfect and
like,
stuff.
but then
There's
it's just
some rockers. Like.
I have that. Would you believe I bought that on cassette, double cassette?
Isn't it in your jacks?
It is.
Yeah.
No.
I took a poop in there.
I'm
pretty sure I saw it.
No, it's a double cassette, so it wouldn't be in there. I don't think.
No, is it? You have the Smashing Pumpkins one up there anyway, I'm pretty sure.
I think it could be Gish.
Yeah, that's the one I saw when I pooped. And what about Dream Theater?
Never liked them.
As a drummer, there was some stuff that I loved, but your man James Labrie, it's just
so awful.
It's pure, like, musically, I was like Honor Thy Father, I was like sick. But then, like, his vocals, I'm just like, I'm not a nerd. Do you know? Like, if anyone came in and be like, in the sands of time, like,
but they're not even in that cool Rush kind of way where you're like, oh man, this is nerdy. They're like this awful sort of panto,
panto.
The Beauty and the Beast type
absolutely
actor. That's what he's like,
Fucking
panto nerds.
Hate Dream Theater with a burning I don't like them at all, and Pete adores them. I just don't get it.
Somebody told me that they only sold 300 tickets for their Belfast Arena show.
I bought Pete a ticket for their show in Lisbon for Christmas.
My Fortnite's gone, so I'd say he was a massive thing.
300 for the stage.
10,000 seat arena.
I was shocked when I seen that it was arena.
Up and there's only 300 there. Like, could you imagine, like, on the day showing up, just being like, "This didn't do good, did it?" Like,
not a good idea.
This is not a dream theater. This is a nightmare theater.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even venture into that world of talking or thinking about Dream Theater. That's bad news.
What about AC/DC, lads?
No interest in them. Sorry.
Like, is there so there are cool tunes like Thunderstruck and stuff.
Yeah.
But do any of those albums have a lot of brilliant songs?
No.
It's amazing that they can get so many albums out of the same song as well, like,
Yeah.
Rocking. Literally.
On about rocking, Joe, for those about to rock, we salute you. 1981. That's where I draw the line.
So, like, there are brilliant other songs, Heat Seeker,
from other bands,
but
they're a bit like Motorhead in relation to if they kind of.
No, there's a good one. Wendy.
I watched Lemmy last night again, actually.
The actual movie.
Yeah.
Ed
just messaged me saying Iron Maiden are shit. Always good to know someone else in the club. That's Ed from the Magdalena.
They're going to be walking around robbing everybody's house whenever Iron Maiden are playing, and everybody's at the gig. Look.
Yeah.
Motorhead. I don't know.
Iron Fist.
It's shit.
After that, no interest.
No, fucking Another Perfect Day is probably their best album.
Well, I draw the line at Another Perfect Day, but if Iron Fist for me is after that, then they just got really average after that. The songs, album-wise, now for albums, like they're just another one of those.
I don't know. Like I love Rock and Roll as well, which is one of the later '80s ones. But
yeah.
What about Motley Crue? Dr. Feelgood for me.
That's it. Yeah.
Dr. Feel, everything else. And what's his name? Singer. Fucking blanking on him now.
Neil.
What a fucking piss take.
He's such a fucking toilet of a human being, isn't he?
But like, go. He's like fucking Jack Black. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
after killing those people in the car accident,
he
fucking killed them and then like disabled 2 other people with brain injuries. He's had like 15 DUIs after that, They weren't even all like, we're taking your license off you forever. They're just like, okay, well, don't do it 17 more times. Don't do it. Okay, you did. Sorry about that.
When you see videos of the fucking state of his vocals for his solo tour, like doing girls, and it's like fucking Googles. Do you know what I mean? Like, Google. Googles.
It's like Homer
brilliant video
Simpson
of him,
doing an
like,
impression of
giving
it.
What he's doing, that's fucking theft. Like, you know,
There's a video of him like giving up halfway through, like doing girls, where he's like, "Oh, no, sorry guys, I gotta go." And then he's all like, "Have a great night. I'll see you next time," because like you're totally gonna come back. Like you're I will. I'll definitely come back.
But then there was this whole thing where it was like, "Oh, he's on the mend," and there's just a picture of him on an operating table, as if they're just gonna like open him up and take all the absolute fucking shite out of him and sew him back up. Which, you know, he didn't get any smaller, so.
He does cameos, and all his cameos, he's always hanging about like in wing selling locations, hanging about like, you know, being all like, "Hey, happy birthday, I guess, but here's to you," and you're like, fucking hell.
Well, yeah, I saw a few of them and they're fucking gold. Like, do you know what I mean? It's expensive. But like he was like, "Hey, shout out to them. You can shout out to them, man."
Nicolas Cage is the fucking acting equivalent of him, I think.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jesus Christ almighty.
He's got some fucking great films.
Yeah,
Brittany's to film this year though. Apparently, it was supposed to be or last year it was supposed to be on Unreal. Was it called Pig or something?
Yeah, it was great.
Supposed to be in
I
Savage.
haven't seen that, like, but I mean,
Mandy
Jesus
was brilliant
Christ,
as well.
like,
Mandy's amazing. No, I just like nobody knows it. Like,
He's a total
Mandy's
head
fucking
ball, and
sick.
his new movie is about him being Nicolas Cage.
yeah, I read about that. For fuck's sake, he goes out to some Russian lord or some fucking.
He's
thing.
the right boy for a bit of meta stuff, isn't he? Like, you're just like,
Fuck
okay,
yeah.
go at it, boy.
His son is a big metalhead as well. His son's like a massive.
His
like,
son, or no, that shares fucking.
But what was that? Wild at Heart. Remember that fucking dance they did in that?
Yeah, it's fucking Armored Saint, wasn't it? Or no, who was it? Power Mad. Yeah.
Power Mad. Yeah, you're spot on. Fucking great band. Actually, I got that album just for that alone.
It's good though. Nice.
What are you wearing, Joe? There is Def Leppard. There's a band now that released a shitload of good albums, and then oh my god, they brought out an album there called Banana. What was it?
They brought out one.
Bananas
in the 90s
was
where
Deep Purple.
Bananas was Deep Purple. What was it with all the crowd in it? What was that?
They made one called Slang in the mid-90s, which was an attempt to cash in on grunge. And like,
I just remember the front cover with all these
like
heads
attempt
on it.
at like trying to write Nirvana songs, and they're all wearing like cut off fucking check shirts. Like, there's a great era in Megadeth in around 1992 where someone obviously told them you all have to wear like check shirts, but they're like, let's cut the sleeves off.
I saw that.
And people will know we still rock, but we're still insanely conforming to this VO5.
Yeah, fuck sleeves, man. It's like, whoa, you can't cage these guys. They don't got no sleeves. And it's pretty cold outside.
So what?
Strangers with Guns there. Jeff, obviously. Joe, Judas Priest. He's throwing at you. Where would you cut him off?
Yeah, Painkiller, isn't it? Like, you know.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Like, they brought out a load of shit albums whenever Halford got back in the band. And, like, I suppose, like, the last one wasn't too bad, but still, just... Like, they really are the definition of legacy bands like that. Same as Deep Purple, where I know that Deep Purple have brought out like 20 albums since the 80s, but like nobody cares about them. Like, it could tell you actually who was behind 9/11 on one of those albums, and that information would not be in public. Like, you know, no one would have ever discovered it. Like,
There's someone admitting
my dad
tape, like,
that would be it. My dad would be the only person. Where would you
That's
cut?
why they're conspiracy theorists. Like, they're just people that listen to fucking Judas Priest.
that albums from the 90s.
I'm telling you, man.
As I said, Joe is definitely the Jimmy McGee of metal. Like,
who's Jimmy McGee when he's at home?
What?
We didn't get him in Yuri.
The famous Irish sports commentator, Jimmy McGee.
What did he do? The All Ireland and that sort of thing, is it?
Yeah, his knowledge on sport in everything was fucking amazing, like, you know. But
if it's a compliment, I'll take it.
100%. As he sucks on the bong.
Now being like,
Jimmy McGee was never a bong smoker
that we know of. I love the way he just took a compliment. It was like, right, I'm done.
That's it. Doesn't get better.
I'm going out.
Drop the mic.
That's what a lot of bands should have done. Gone out in a high. Like, nah, I'm not fucking doing this now. We've had too much.
Is that a guitar? bass in the background? It's the guitars. Joe, what's that in the background? Is it a guitar or bass?
It's a bass.
The guitar.
Oh, class.
Is it?
It is.
Very
like
Def Leppard-y, actually.
It's actually the same as
Steve Clark's, is it? Is that his name?
BBC one from the 80s. What's it say?
Nice.
More beer.
Class.
You can't write a bad song with that, no, to be fair. Like.
Well, you'd be surprised. Going after the awful and very hard for about 20 years now this year. So,
woohoo.
Woohoo,
See,
indeed.
The sad thing as well is you're getting bands that like, you know, have so many albums, but you have a band like Every Time I Die that has just not released a bad album, you know, and they have how many? 13, 14? No,
albums.
Less. No, they have how many albums do they have? 9.
Fuck, that's a lot. I can't actually. I don't think I know any bands who have 9 albums that I would consider infallibly good. Look, you know,
Mastodon.
Every single album is fucking class.
but like I would have to say
Mastodon.
that like you need to qualify that by saying that it's more than like 2/3 brilliant. Like so, if there's 10 songs on the album, you're only allowed 1 or maybe
9.
1.5 songs that are not unbelievable. Like you know,
So you're Mastodon?
Yeah, 100%, yeah. Mastodon. Not a bad album.
It'd be so. There's a lot of like what bands now would just break your heart releasing an absolutely shite album. Do you know, like, well, we have bands like fucking Code Orange that started doing it fairly early anyway. So they had like their old stuff was really heavy, really class, and now they're like it's proper like Sirius XM butt rock, like 9 Inch Nails worship, but like the really shitty side of new metal.
It's like Bring Me the Horizon. They were like one that I was going to put on the list. They should have stopped after Septernal. It's heartbreaking to see them now, like trying to be a BBC One.
They're massive now, though. That's
yeah,
the thing.
which
like,
sucks.
that's it, though, isn't it? I think that there's so many bands out there. Like fucking, a mate of mine was talking about that band, A and stuff like. You know, and
give
like,
it some skin.
Jesus Christ! Stop.
Who am I thinking of? AFI. Like,
yeah.
But like, they were the same thing as in like once they saw that there was cash to be made in the music business, they were like, just gonna go over here and play for these people and fuck all that early stuff.
Yeah.
No one gives a
It's
shit.
the kids, man. It's what the kids want.
But like Bring Me the Horizon are bizarre. Like you listen to their early stuff and it's so like deathcore,
Deathcore,
fucking insane. And now they're like in the charts, like the mainstream charts. And yeah, it's frustrating for someone like me who want to go to see them, but I don't want to see any of their new shit. You know? And then it's frustrating for the new fans who don't want to see anything old. So it's kind of like, what do you do? You know?
And like that, there's some bands out like Creator. Me and you talked about this, Richie, that so many of their fans now are kids who love the violent revolution and after that period, you know, the nowadays kind of stuff.
You could say the same about Overkill, Joe.
Yeah, like their 80s stuff, you know, it's only old people who actually want to hear it. Everyone else is sitting being like, yeah, play your new stuff, you know.
Yeah, Redzer said a fucking great one there, Sepultura.
Love all their stuff.
Talking,
they're another band.
Oh, man, the last album they made was amazing. It was one of their best.
I haven't listened to the
I don't
very
care.
last. I watched videos, but like fucking
everyone raves about it. Yeah.
Against and like I wasn't really arsed. But
like, you know.
The new album, like with Eloy Casagrande, he's fucking incredible. He's incredible, but there was a stage there where I just dropped it off. Like,
I don't think anyone really cared about Against or Nation or, you know.
But they had to go to there to get back up, man. You just see them live and they're fucking incredible, and they just.
I've no doubt.
They just shut everybody up. If I know loads left after Max left, obviously, but I mean, if you
then you had Soulfly, which was actually the next that was like
it's awful.
What people were looking for from Sepultura almost, you know what I mean? With a little bit more of a
what wankers we're looking for from Sepultura.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Joy's in great form
The
tonight, man. He's
claws are
fucking, I tell you, he's chopping everything down.
Flavored beer, lads.
Marshmallows gone to your head.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Nobody's safe.
It's not making you soft at all.
That's the laser quest on it. Look, you know.
So Sean is saying, "Bring Me the Horizon" should have stopped after There Is a Hell.
No, Sempiternal is fucking class. Sempiternal is unreal.
Never really listened to them.
I'm so shocked at that.
Too tight for me.
I'm shocked at that. I think you'd love them, Evan.
No, I had a lot of friends that did, but I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the massive fringes and the tight pants, like,
or your snobbery.
Probably that could have done it. Like,
listen.
Either way.
See, we're a bit limited as well because none of us like black metal, and I'm sure there's fucking a shitload of fucking black metal bands.
Oh, I'm sure
that
there
have
is,
just.
I wouldn't even know where to start. So.
Yeah.
Oh, the first album by the first black metal band. That's probably where they should have stopped.
Because the thing is, like, I suppose a lot of the legacy bands, it is kind of like Venom. You know, people know, the early stuff is good, the later stuff is not so good and stuff. You know, so I don't really know. Like, I know a lot of people who are big into like not fucking Hellhammer and things of that nature. Fucking, I don't really know if like that music is capable of disappointing those fans. So it's so rooted in exactly what the vibe was in 1983 that I don't know.
Yeah,
like, maybe people can fucking hop in the chats or.
Well, yeah, Celtic Frost now would be a good example of that. That who came from Hellhammer, and they fucking released Cold Lake, and it was just going, oh my fucking god.
Yeah.
But they came back with Monolith then, so it's kind of, Monolith? I think this is, an amazing album. So.
What about Richie Opeth? I know you're a big Opeth fan.
Oh, see, I'm old school Opeth.
Yeah.
Like Blackwater Park, Deliverance.
Yeah.
After that.
They were great. But, you would have to admit that, like, they have a whole other audience of people who love the stuff that they've done since the mid-2000s,
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. You're spot on.
Yeah, because I bought my dad, is it Sorceress? Is the name of the album with like the peacock on it? I think that's the name of it. And he only loves their new stuff.
Yeah.
He hasn't listened to the old stuff at all. So I think
your dad listens to Opeth.
My dad's a big metalhead, yeah. Well, okay. I got into metal because Dad was into like Purple and Maiden. Grew up with that, so I've every Christmas, birthday, I try and buy him like something heavier.
So you could listen to it.
No, so like because he's got a vinyl player and that, big into vinyl. So like I'm like try and wean him into heavier and heavier because he listened to heavyish stuff. Got him big into Primordial, huge Primordial.
Oh, unreal!
Wow, okay,
huge. They're playing in Dolan's there in March.
Yeah,
so it should be a good gig.
Are you coming down for that? I might go to it, Joe.
I don't know. Come down for the cans, like
Do sure.
I'm gonna come down and listen to Alan, fucking walking about with bird shit on his head, like. Sure, it'll not affect ticket sales in any way.
Brian had a good one there. System of a Down.
Never had a bad album.
Never had a bad album.
No. Are you serious?
I know loads of people who'd be like, I don't even listen to that. Steal this album. They'd be like, first album only and nothing else.
I know Steal This Album. I don't really fucking count it for some reason. I don't know why.
No, I got into it later.
It's all B-sides.
Yeah.
Was it? I thought that was an originals album.
I think Mesmerize and Hypnotize are just...
Well, it is, but it's the early stuff, isn't it? Steal This Album.
Steal This Album is a very early one, yeah.
I don't count it anyway, but otherwise I have all their stuff in this class. Yeah, they're a good example of a band that I like.
Getting the first album when I had Toxicity first, and then I was in because there was I didn't really have much internet access to look it up, and I remember being in a shop in France and seeing like the Hand and having System of a Down, and I was like, they released a new album. In my head, I was like, oh yeah, sure, this band, because they just got massive, especially in Europe with Toxicity. Like everyone listened to him.
But
and I remember getting that, thinking it was new.
No, I think Toxicity came out first.
No,
no,
What was the one with the hand then?
System of a Down.
Was it just self-titled? Yeah. That had like sweet pea and sugar on it.
Yes. Jesus Christ.
Soil.
I have to go back to them albums, man. I haven't listened to System of a Down in fucking years. Like.
I love System of a Down. They're like my number one band that I haven't seen live that I need to see live.
Same. Never seen them either. Bugs the shit out of me.
Yeah, I'd love to see them live.
You not see them, Richie, at Ozless Fest back in 2000?
Wasn't that no.
4 or 5 or whatever the fuck
wasn't
that
they were shit. Do you know, was it
they were shit.
Darren Mal with the guitarist?
Malak, yeah.
His solo project.
Scars on Broadway.
Fucking gack. It's absolutely shit. He's not a good vocalist, like, you know.
He's seems like one of those bands that like they can't get on because like no one can just say the singer is the talented guy, so unless we do what he says, then nothing's gonna happen. Like,
I think they all want different things. They want different things. Apparently, one of them wants to go kind of a complete different route, and one of them wants to do the older stuff. But sure, there are 2 new songs that they released actually aren't great. One of them was alright.
For
the Armenian,
I can't remember what it was now.
Yeah, I suppose they're in that sort of trap, aren't they? Kind of seem as the darkness, where it's like, you know, they can go out and play the fucking album that everyone loves,
like,
and then, you know, there's money in the bank, like, you know.
Yeah.
They can't agree to do anything else.
Do you know the drummer and the singer are actually brother-in-laws? I didn't know that.
Yeah, was he pure gun toting or something now as well, which is
Republican.
Yeah, he is. The drummer is very Republican. That's another factor.
The singer, like Surge, released solo stuff and it's
Surge
shite.
It's not
so
great.
It's like when they're on their own, it's fucking shite. But when they come together recently, it's fucking shite.
Yeah.
Evan, you can split up Tool, can't you?
I can what?
You can split up Tool with an album, surely.
No.
Are they just faultless? Come on.
No, I'd say Fear Inoculum is just a bit of a letdown. No, I fucking love Tool, but just Fear Inoculum is like that was the biggest letdown album that I've had from any of my favorite bands, because how many years was it?
That was the problem, though. Everybody was just building it up because it had been so long. But if it was just released maybe just after 10,000 days.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be fine. Totally. But that much time passing, you can't just release the same. There has to be some
No,
I don't think that was the thing. That I think as you said, Danielle, that's the key point in all this, is that like it's not that the band are building it up. It's just that time itself keeps moving forward and people's love of the band.
Well, to be fair, Danny Carey did start. 90s, you know? He was building it up every so often. He'd be like saying again, like, "Oh, it sounds like this,"
heavy,
or it's.
But like, they have to do that
snippets.
though. Like they have to.
They didn't, because no one knew that they were even making an album. He just kept saying it every so often. Like he was the one. Like, you know, on message boards, people would be like, "Oh, he said this," and there's video of him saying this, and he'd be like, "Yeah, it'll be out next year," and all this, and so naturally there was.
It certainly wasn't Maynard. He was bitching about it.
No, it was literally like, I feel like it was dangled in front of people for so long that you're like, your mouth's gonna water like when you're looking at food that long when you're hungry. Do you know what I mean? So even though we'll say the official PR campaign and the press cycle and everything didn't start till it was actually announced, he was doing it himself, just being like for years saying it's going to be out this, or it's going to sound like this.
It happened to Exodus on their new album. Like they were just like, "Oh, this is going to be the best album of all time."
I know
it's going to like blow away all our previous albums. And
it's going to be Iowa levels of heavy.
They hadn't even started writing tunes for it. Like the whole time they were talking crap. It's like, as you said, if it's a normal 2 years between each record, then it doesn't seem like. But
Joe, the likes of Exodus and Testament and all them, as you say now, they're legacy bands, you know.
Yeah.
Overkill as well. Other bands are just.
I don't think Testament and
like, how many albums have they all released now? They're all into 13 and 14. Yeah,
probably. But like Testament and Exodus aren't in the same situation as Overkill and some of the other bands, like Creator, where they can play mostly new songs and people will like it. They're still very much tied to the 80s, and the same way as Metallica and stuff are. You know, if you went to go and see Metallica and they just played songs from the 90s and the 2000s, you would be quite ruffled, you know. Your feathers would be. Also,
actually, how I didn't bring this up. How much are Tool tickets? Like the ones that were left were like fucking €300.
250 quid
yeah.
for season tickets.
They were definitely bought two, Danielle. You had to.
Yeah, I got two, but I got like nosebleeders. They were 100 each.
That's all right. Yeah, cool.
They're all average 100, but what happened was 3, I think, are probably doing a fucked up thing where the closer you are on the ground floor to the stage, the more expensive it is. So that's why there's only. It was absolute like, craziness in the group.
That's the deal in the States and everywhere. Like it's like
insane.
Closer, if you want to sit up in the second tier, grand tickets are normal price. But if you want to sit on near the floor or on like standing or whatever, it just gets up and up and up and up. You know?
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, like
tickets for fucking 400 quid or something like that. You know,
Jesus. Like I know someone that's going to see them in. I think he's like following them on a tour. He's like 6 gigs or something. I'm like, man, could have bought a fucking house. Like,
fucking hell. Okay, so we'll finish it up here on Zoom, and we'll continue it if you want on Facebook. Is that fair enough?
Whatever everyone wants to do, we'll start listening to everyone's chat.
Okay, so thanks, Ev. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Danielle, for coming on the show. I hope you enjoyed it, and check out the bands that we reviewed, and support your local metal scene.
Yo!